Every AI cold email sounds the same. I hope this finds you well, blah, blah, blah. I noticed you're a VP of sales at this balloon startup, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, that gets deleted. It's gone. It's never being read. But what if the email opened with something about the company's latest funding round? Or what if it spoke directly to a problem that a person deals with every single day? And if it connected that problem to exactly how your software can help? It's that same AI tool. It has complete different inputs and complete different outputs and complete different results. And I'm going to show you how that approach actually gets replies and gets you more deals. Welcome back. My name is Reef and I work as an account executive and I superpower my sales workflows with automation and AI. And today I want to talk about the evolution of cold email because most people are stuck in the wrong era. Let's talk a little bit about the eras, right? In era one, it was back in the boomer days where cold emails were custom. You'd research someone, write them a thoughtful message and send it. It worked, but you can maybe do 10 a day and it didn't scale. In era two, you've got tools like Outreach and Apollo that came along. And now you can send emails at scale, hundreds, thousands a day, millions a week if you wanted to. But the problem is that everyone started to do that. Everyone's inbox got flooded with the same, hey, I noticed you're a VP of sales, blah, blah, blah. The open rates tanked, reply rates tanked, and cold email really started to die. Era three, that's where we are now. So is cold email dead? Nah, not really. It's obviously still going to be around for a while. But the new way is to have emails that are custom to the company, custom to the persona, and overall custom to how your product can help them. And this is going to be personalized at scale. That's what AI makes possible. And today we're going to learn how. All right, y'all, I've got Claude opened up. This is just my LLM of choice. You can bring just about any LLM that you or your company uses. They're all pretty good at this. The core of the issue is that today, how sales reps are using AI are something like this, right? Write me a cold outbound sequence for a VP of marketing. And, they'll type this and they essentially have a trash input and they get a trash output that gets absolutely no replies. So today we're going to take a look at a different spin on this. As I always talk about, these LLMs are a really powerful tool, but if you put trash in, you get trash out. So the secret for getting the most value out of your AI responses are feeding it golden inputs. So for today's walkthrough, we're going to feed in 3 distinct inputs to generate us a hyper custom outbound sequence. The first input we're going to use is company research. If you watched one of my earlier videos of how we use Claude research to generate company research, we're going to take that input that we generated earlier and throw that in here. And that company research is what gives the LLM context into recent news, funding rounds, key executives, all that good stuff. So I'll go ahead and drag that in here. So I've got a Gong company research that I've worked on. And I did this with Claude Research. So we've got that hooked up. This is our Gong company research, as if we're targeting executives at Gong to sell our automation software. That's the first key input, making sure the LLM knows which company that we're targeting, what they sell, how their business operates. All that is golden info to be able to have something very custom for your outbound sequence. The second input that we're going to feed it is the persona that we're looking to target. The persona aspect is something that's very important because we want this to be customized to the pain points that an executive could face. So for today's purposes, I'm going to add in a VP of marketing persona. And in this document, I have an in-depth analysis on the pain points of VPs of marketing, what they want, how they're measured. Everything is attached in this VP of marketing persona. And this is something that you'll want to build out as well. So at this point, we've got company research, we've got research on the marketing persona and what this role faces as a whole. And then finally, the third thing we're going to add in is our company's info. So this should be a document of what you sell, how your software helps its customers, the value prop, and how it wins against the competition. So at this point, we've got our 3 inputs in. We've got our company overview of Gong, what the company is going through, how they make money. We've got the persona in there, our VP of marketing persona. And then finally, we've got info about our company, our value prop, what we sell. And with these 3 inputs, you're feeding the LLM such great context for it to actually do a good job on the outbound sequences that you generate. As usual, we need a high fidelity prompt. So I'll share the prompt here. Let me copy and paste it in. Now I got my prompt in here. So we've got all 4 critical components that we need to start generating hyper-specific outbound sequences. So here you can see I'm generating a 3 email outbound sequence for Joe, the VP of marketing at Gong. I've let it know that, hey, I've attached the company research about key signals. I've added in the persona pain points about, operational efficiency, limited budget, et cetera. I'm going to remove this in this scenario as it's already in the document. But if you don't have a document, you can type it in here, and then connection to our solution. So I've got the document attached, so I'm going to remove this. And at this point, this section is good to go. Now I'm letting it know I want the email 1 written with a specific insight from the company research connected to a challenge that the role faces and bridge how we can help. And with the low friction question, not a call to action. Email 2, we're going to send this 3 days later. Brief example of how a similar company in the space solved the problem using our platform. Under 4 sentences, short. And then finally, email 3, easy to answer question about their current process. Email under 100 words, no checking in, not a salesperson, short sentences, conversational tone. So this can be customized however you want. I've got a couple sequences that I have at like 10 to 12. I can have that in my school community. But in general, I just want to show you an example of how this all ties together. So we'll go ahead and ship this off. So in general, AI is a really powerful tool. It can do things very quickly and pull in information from many different sources to get you a very strong output. But if you want a strong output, like we talked about before, you need very strong inputs, and investing in documents like company overviews or personas that you target, it's going to save you a lot of time and effort and get you more outbound wins. All right, guys, in a matter of seconds, we've got our outbound email sequence. So let's take a look. All right, let's check it out. Email 1, the subject, Gong's reporting problem. That's pretty attention grabbing. It's probably pulling from some of the company knowledge. It's pulling together reports from ABC. That's a lot of manual hours producing a number that's stale by Monday morning. And then at this point, it's getting accustomed to Gong's situation. In the second paragraph, we related back to how our solution helps and automates all of it. Then we end off with a simple question. I personally think that the subject is a bit aggressive, but it's obviously hyper custom, and you can continue working on this output if it's not something that sounds similar to you. Let's check out email 2. How similar company cut reporting time by 80%. So in this situation, we are referencing one of our current customers. We can plug one in, or if you wanted to, you can have an input of current customers that are using your tool and have it automatically decide. But yes, it leaves a placeholder for this. So we've got custom emails, a revenue intelligence company similar to Gong, use NADN to automate their weekly marketing. So it's using social proof, and we're referencing the exact tech stack that is relevant to them. Take a look at this value prop. The marketing ops person went from spending 6 hours a week on that report to 0. So we're explaining how it's going to save them time. And then we go into a call to action. Finally, let's take a look at email 3. Quick question. Curious, when your team needs to pull a pipeline report today, VP marketing obviously has to do a lot. That is pretty attention grabbing for that specific role. Someone on your ops team doing manual data pulls, or do you have something automated? So very short email, but it's addressing something that the VP of marketing likely deals with on a day-to-day, a week-to-week, and it's something that's manual and can be solved with our solution. Again, a real quick example of how we can start generating custom outbound email sequences. We saw how it's targeting Gong, the company, and specific to the tech stack it uses. We are talking about use cases that are specific to a persona, in this situation, the VP of marketing. We're always addressing how our solution will help them. So really attention grabbing, really personalized, and way less likely to just get totally ignored. Obviously, is this perfect? Probably not, but this can be iterated upon further, and that deep context will allow us to generate very, very custom sequences. I actually really like this prompt in particular because it's got 3 different emails, 3 different angles. The first one leads with the research that we've plugged in. The second one obviously leans on social proof. And then the third one, it leads with curiosity. I just find it so fascinating that we can ground our outbound sequences with real context about what's relevant to our target customer. All right, y'all, what we covered today, this is just V1, right? We're doing one customer at a time. In a future video, video, I'm going to show you how we can do this for an entire target account list. And we can do our outbound at scale while still keeping that personalization. It's going to be some really exciting stuff. All right, y'all, that's the approach for our V1 customizing our outbound sequences. The reality of it is that cold email isn't dead, but lazy cold email is gone forever. When every email references real research, speaks to the persona's actual pain, and connects it to how you and your software can specifically help, that's when you stand out in a flooded inbox. Like I mentioned before, the assets that you saw in today's video, they're available in my school community. Please come check it out. If you like content like this, AI, outbound strategy, and workflows that make you a more dangerous rep, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'd love to hear from you guys as well. Tell me what your biggest cold email challenge is right now, and I'll see how I can automate it. But until then, I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.